Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from today. Thank you for coming to listen to us talk about the courses that hopefully can help in your future professional career. So today's session, you're going to have myself, Agata. I'm heading marketing of the Westminster Business School. We also have
Keith Patrick, I'm the course leader for the MA Management Programme.
And I am Raquel Oliveira. I am a graduate from the IBM program,
which is the International Business and Management. So throughout the session, we'll talk first about the business school, the university, so you get a little bit of the background and the idea of why we're the best choice for you. We'll also compare and contrast the two courses, the MA Management and the International Business and Management MA and MSc, because there are a little bit similar, but yet they are quite different. So we want to make sure that you understand the differences between them and which course is best for you. And then thanks to Raquel, we're going to hear a little bit more from the graduate about her experience on the course and how it has helped her in her career today and what she's up to at the moment. We will then answer your questions, so please feel free to submit your questions throughout the session and we'll address them towards the end of the session if that's all right. And then we'll talk about the next steps if you're interested to joining any of the courses, what you should do and where you can gain more information and which channels you could explore. So starting off with the university, so we've been around for quite a long time. We've actually celebrated 175 years ago, we've celebrated 175-year anniversary of the university a couple of years ago. So we have quite a long heritage and tradition of delivering especially business and management education in central London. So we know what we're doing, and also it puts us in position where we have very strong links with the industry because we've been around for so long. Also, a fun fact is that the Queen is actually our patron, which is a nice thing to have always. So why would you consider joining Westminster Business School? Well, first of all, we have an amazing location. We're right in the heart of London. It is very convenient, indeed, but it also presents opportunities for you to get more engaged with businesses and to put your newly acquired academic knowledge into practice. It also helps us to have strong link with industry and businesses around us. I mean, within like the few miles away from the campus, there's hundreds and hundreds of companies across different industries and different sectors that we collaborate with, be based on doing internships with our students or projects, or just getting the professionals to come to the classroom or to inform our new courses. So it's quite an important thing for us. We continuously develop our campuses. So the university actually have 4 campuses. 3 of those are in central London, and the Westminster Business School is based in a central London location on Marylebone Road, which is very close to where Sherlock Holmes used to live. So what it means, of course, you can use any of those campuses throughout your studies, and there's loads of things happening in each of those campuses. But your main home would be Marylebone if you choose to be with us. The great thing is we have invested so much in the campus that now we have a financial market suite powered by Bloomberg technology. We have a brand new Westminster boardroom with amazing kind of audio, video conferencing systems in place that allow us to collaborate with groups of students and with professionals all around the world. We have a postgraduate study room specifically designed for our master students to make sure that you have a bit more of a peace and quiet from the rest of our undergraduate students. The library is open 24/7 during the term time to make sure that, again, you can study at your convenience. And you will notice, which I'm sure Raquel experienced, that just before the assignments
You really need it.
and the exams, people are literally sleeping there, right?
They do.
Yeah, so there you go. And it's a lovely library. It's very well stocked. There's a lot of resources online as well, and lots of kind of silent study areas and group study areas. So it's all to make sure that this experience is easier for you. There's a very good student union in the university that supports over 100 different student societies and sports clubs. So pretty much whatever your interest is, you will find some club for it. I mean, I think there's a football sports club, and there's don't remember now, but there's like
basketball. There's also like religious, like
there are religious
Buddhist
societies.
Mm-hmm.
There's also national societies. There are kind of business subject area societies. So there's entrepreneurial society. There's marketing society. There's I think there's accounting and management society as well. They're all very active, and you can be part of any of those. And if you feel that none of those is up to what you want, then you can set up your own society, which students are very encouraged to do. One of quite unique things about Westminster is that we're extremely diverse and extremely international. We have in the university over 150 nationalities, and within business school we have over 100 different nationalities represented. And what's great about that is that you're never in a classroom where there's too many of one nationality. So it's a really nice mix, and this is truly how you experience the international business, and this is how the business nowadays looks like. So you learn through interacting with your peers and with academics from many different countries who have very different ideas, very different perspective on things, and we hope that this helps you widen your horizons and prepare you for the real world. And of course, many academics, like Keith as well, have great industry experience in the subject area that they teach in. So they are there, work in the industry and teach part-time, or the other way around, or they work maybe in academia with kind of consulting to the external businesses. So they all truly know what they're talking about and what they're teaching you. Another thing that I have mentioned about us being based in central London is having the guest speakers. I don't know if you remember, Raquel, any of your guest speakers?
We had actually contact with a newly created crisps company here in the UK, here in London, and the founders came to our marketing class and talked to us a bit about how to develop a brand, how to position yourself in the market, how to deal with competition and so on. It was really interesting.
Do you get speakers as well, right?
Yeah, we don't bring speakers into our networking forum rather than various colleagues will do that on an ad hoc basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so as you see, we both we try to bring quite a mix as well, so you can find out about different industries and different sort of businesses. So we would have social enterprise coming in, or startups, or very established companies. So as you can see, we've had speakers coming equally from kind of entrepreneurial background like James Dixon, but we've also had big names like Virgin and McKinsey and Goldman Sachs, and they come in to talk to our students about what are the opportunities like in this particular area, what sort of skills they're looking for, what are the procedures or getting, let's say, an internship or placement or a project with them, and yeah, how you should approach it, and then we as the careers officers prepare you for that process, and it comes both from the side of the course as well as the societies themselves are extremely active around that area, and they bring a lot of speakers. So you'll notice that there's many talks and many events happening throughout the year that we really encourage students to participate in to make the most out of this experience.
On that topic, I remember one from the Marketing Society that Unilever came to talk to the students. It was really interesting.
So there you go. We also, so not only that we have those amazing contacts with the industry, we also have something that I haven't mentioned yet, is the Westminster Business Consultants, which is a student-run consulting business. And it's the only such business or enterprise that's in the UK. And the students can apply for jobs within the Westminster Business Consultants and then work with them throughout the time of their studies, again, gaining those precious practical skills. Now, with regards to the teaching, as I said, we had amazing lecturers who have quite a lot of experience themselves, but also we make sure that the degrees that we create them in collaboration with the industry, with collaborations with our alumni, with graduates, to really make sure that we provide you with skills and tools that are indeed crucial to developing your professional career and to getting the job that you really want after the graduation. But it is not only about your job at the graduation point, but it is about giving you the tools to be able to then continue your professional development throughout the rest of your life. So that's also very important, and you can do that with, of course, with university, but we also make sure that we link you with professional bodies that can also provide additional support, like the Chartered Management Institute. So both of the courses are accredited by that or are working in association with the Chartered Management Institute. We also give you opportunities throughout the course to get your hands on different projects for example, you can do an internship with us that usually takes 2 to 3 months. It's part-time, it's unpaid. However, it is specialized, so it will be in the area of what you study. So if you study management, we'll try to make sure that it is in the management area. If you study international business, we'll make sure it is something to do with international business. This is something that our business experience team identifies for our students and prepares our students to take the interview, to do the application, and to help you through that process. And also to make sure that the internship that you do is indeed adding to your degree, so that you're working on specific projects rather than making coffee for 3 months. So I don't know if you know, Raquel, if any of your friends did any of the internships.
Some of my friends did external internships promoted by the Career Center, which is also one possibility. So one of them did a research internship in one of the universities here, close to Marylebone. And another one did an internship in an accounting company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. There are all sorts of options. So there are internships that the business experience team helps with. There's a central careers development center that also can identify all sorts of opportunities for you. So there are all sorts of options. We offer mentoring for our international students, and I believe, Raquel, you've done that.
I have done that, and it's extremely useful. So the Career Development Center, they match the students and their interests, their profile, and what are they interested in knowing about work life in London with somebody in the market that has those capabilities. And for me, it was extremely helpful. I still have contact with my mentor. He has helped me a lot with suggestions of companies that I can apply to after, also suggestions on how to tailor my CV to specific positions that I wanted. It was something that I really recommend.
Great. How often would you see your mentor?
You have a predefined minimum amount of meetings that you have to have. I think it's 6 of them. So you basically see him once a month.
Okay.
Or depending on the mentor, this could be even more frequent. It's something tailored to your experience.
That's great. And then, of course, as a part of the course, you would get all sorts of kind of residential trips or kind of projects that you have to work on and pitch to to a company, or live business projects. There's a residential for the MA management, and then there's an international business trip for the international business management. We're going to mention later on. So, Kate, I was hoping you could give us a bit more information about as we said, we have 2 courses. In fact, we have almost 3 courses that we're looking at, which is the Management MA, which is your course, and then we have the International Business and Management with 2 final titles as a MA or MSc.
Okay, the MA Management actually traces its origins back to 1907. Its current incarnation has been around for the last 17 years. It's actually just been revalidated, and that's why there are some changes. And if you looked at the website and looked at the sketches, there are some slight discrepancies. The good news at the moment is the fees are, for home students, are 9,000 and overseas 12,000, because they will be changing come September. Again, it runs in a 1-year full-time mode, but also a 2-year part-time mode. But you need to make sure that you've got the right clearance visas-wise to be able to do the part-time version. But again, it's the same course, you're just doing it over 2 years rather than 1 year. Again, you'll find with both courses, we don't ask for a specific degree simply because what you're going to come to study is something quite different from anything else you've studied, although you may have done components of it. But the idea being that you have at least a second-class honours degree or its international equivalent. If you don't meet that requirement, certainly on the MA Management, we will consider your work experience. And when we say work experience, we're looking for professional experience that is showing a career trajectory that is improving and taking on responsibilities for resources. That could be people, finance, etc. The other thing that will go into the mix is we will also consider professional qualifications. Again, this is where the professional bodies come into it, because whilst the courses are recognised by the CMI, you find the university, so the business school has 7 other recommendations from different organisations. So the different subjects they're being taught by people that have got professional recognition and by organisations that recognise us for the delivery, whether it be finance, marketing, accounting, etc. Okay, so in terms of the structure, the MA Management is probably the easiest one to describe, simply because we only have 9 modules and they're all core modules. You're required to take them all. Again, this year there's some slight changes from previous years, but they're more in the area of improvements and changes to how the assessment. You'll see from this slide, basically they're giving you knowledge of all the different areas that are required for a business. The idea is to give you an understanding of the different disciplines and domains within any organisation, to give you a conceptual understanding, but also to help you develop the language to be able to talk to specialists within that part of the organisation, but also to be able to interpret reports and to also be able to ask questions of these people in those different reports.
Okay. So the International Business and Management MA and MSc, as you see, the fees are a little bit slightly higher. So we have for home and EU students it's 14,500, and for overseas would be 15,500. This course is solely available in the full-time mode, and it is 1 year. It would start in September or in January. Both of the courses are starting both in September and in January. As Keith has mentioned, there's a good chance for September there will be slight fee changes, saying that this is usually in line with inflation, with around about hike of about 2%. So it's not going to be a huge difference, but there will be a difference. Similarly, they have very similar, let's say, entry requirements. The international business management, international business and management is looking for people who don't necessarily have previous degree around business or management. So often it is almost like a conversion degree for many people. And you just need to have a good degree, or could be the professional qualifications similar to what Kip said. Majority of students are coming straight from their undergraduate degrees, with I think very little or no experience whatsoever. For our international students, we would also require you to take IELTS and to achieve at least overall 6.5 score with the 6.0 in each of the elements. It's also Chartered Management Institute accredited, and because they're MA and MSc stream, you'll see there's a few bit more modules. So for the core modules for the MA and MSc, they have financial analysis for managers, business research methods, which really feed directly into your final project. There's international economics, there's international marketing, communications management, international strategy, leading and managing in a global context. As you can see, they're all very much focusing on international and global business. And they also take you through pretty much all of the areas of business to make sure that you know how to manage it, how to grow it. And then the major differences in the core modules between the MA and MSc is that MSc is a little bit more quantitative. So the MA core module would be human resource management strategies for international managers, whereas for the MSc it would be about digital information management. Now the course also has few of the option modules. The MA stream has 2 option modules around marketing, creativity and innovation, as well as digital information management, and you can usually choose one of those 2 modules, whereas MSc has 4 option modules, and you have global finance markets, quantitative analysis for marketing managers, modern finance and organizational behaviors, and human resource management. Again, they're a little bit more quantitative than the MA option, apart from the HRM, of course. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add.
No, my program was before, right? It was a bit different.
Yeah, it was. You didn't have the MSc stream, no, I think, at the time yet.
Exactly.
And responding to the demands, we've decided to create the MSc. So now the assessment methods for the international business management, it's really, it depends from module to module, but generally the mix, there's a mix of kind of assessment methods. You'll get some coursework to do, you will have some examination on some of the modules, and then of course quite a big one and final one that everyone has to do is your project, your final dissertation. And yeah, you remember working on your final dissertation?
Oh yeah.
Painful?
It was long.
Yeah.
But actually, in terms of the coursework, that's actually where you get a lot of exposure to this very good benefit of having international teams. Mm-hmm. Because many of the courseworks are in teams, and you get to work with people from very different backgrounds, very different cultures, and you get a bit of a feeling of how it is actually in a business world to work in an international team, right? You have to manage these expectations and manage how you're going to be able to sit together and do the work together. It was very helpful.
Yeah, I hear often that's one of the most challenging parts of your degree is working in teams, right? And negotiating and making sure that everyone pulls their weight.
But it's a very good preparation also.
Which is how it looks like in the business world, exactly. To be honest. How about the management MA? Is it similar?
It's pretty much similar. A lot of some of the presentations may be individual, but they're also group work. But there's a lot of team-based activities, even if it's just researching assessments. But again, it's the same kind of thing. And when we talk about the residential, it comes up in the residential. I mean, this is one of the key learnings. It's just some of the subtleties of doing business in different parts of the world, and understanding how easy it is to actually lose the business or not get the contract simply because you've approached these people in a different way to what they expect, or it's considered you're being disrespectful. And some of this is actually very subtle. And that's one of the benefits also of the residentials. When students spend more time with each other, they actually start seeing some of these subtle differences. And again, the other part, we have no choice but to work in teams, and this is a good place to learn how to manage working in a team, but also how to manage yourself when you're working with people that aren't working to your standard or contributing in a way that you think is necessary. Because that is traumatic for both sides, and equally for the staff, making sure that everything runs well. But again, certainly on the MA management, we put time into the preparation for that during our induction process, because teamwork has become more significant during the degree. But it's also about learning how to manage teams.
That's exactly that. And now to the, well, we still have, we're getting close to the residential now. So as I mentioned, there are residential and field trips, which will allow you again to try out your newly acquired academic knowledge into on kind of live business projects. There's workplace and consultancy modules that kind of teach you how to behave in a workplace, how to prepare for it. There's specialist internships opportunities, which I have mentioned before, the same way as mentoring opportunities, and then career talks with industry speakers. We have career fairs as well going on throughout the year. So there's loads and loads of opportunities for our students to get involved. We have a whole month of entrepreneurship, and it's all about bringing the startup companies and talking about how they did it. And in fact, an excellent opportunity that's came up with the new initiative of the professional practice in entrepreneurship. It's a project that we've just started in the business school that will help create a whole ecosystem to support young entrepreneurs. And this will be connecting with outreach in the schools, but also we're doing a lot of projects here within the university. It will hopefully teach students how to gain finance, how to grow your business, how to set it up, how to kick it off. So that's another part of theory into action that our students, no matter from which course, will be able to participate in. So finally, the international trip to Brussels, which is the International Business and Management trip. So Raquel, tell us. What happened?
So as part of the marketing module, one of the assignments, a group assignment, was to create a chocolate brand that we had to do from scratch. The whole concept of how the product itself is going to look like, and also the positioning in the market, and all the marketing involved around that brand. To make it a bit more realistic and also like to get our experience, we traveled to Brussels, visited a real chocolate factory to start with understanding product creation itself. On the corner, down corner left, that's me and my group.
All right.
Basically our task was to understand the difference between a product and a brand, right? So we created a chocolate, and throughout the next days we developed the whole concept of the brand for that product. It was very hard work. Of course, we wanted also to see Brussels, and we did. Some parts of this big group, they also traveled around Belgium. They have been to Bruges for the day. There was some free time, therefore, but mostly we stayed in the hotel and tried to work in groups to develop this concept. And at the end of the trip, we presented it, and it was really fun. I think this was the highlight of my course, to be honest.
Yeah, so I think you go for about a week, right?
You go for, I think, 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
It is right at the beginning of the course, so we started in September 2016 and the trip was in October. It was also a very good chance to get to know the other students, because here at the university not always you have time to sit together and to talk to 60 other people or how many other people. So it was a very good chance to get to know, familiarize yourself with the professors, but also with the students. And because you are like in this isolated environment, just working on your project, you also get a lot more productive than what you would be here in London. So I, for example, sat with my group basically all the time that was determined for group study. We did that and it worked out really well. We didn't have anything to do extra once we came back to London. So we used the time very well. That's my tip.
Fantastic. So our social media officer, we've sent her out this year. She only just came back. She went for this
She was
trip.
there also, yeah.
Yes.
She was documenting everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what's been happening. And yeah, I think this year they went to Chocolate Factory, very similar project. And I think they also went to visit Stella Artois.
We have been also.
Okay, so it's an ongoing thing. So yeah, as you can see, it looks like everyone had fun, hard work.
Lots of chocolate to eat.
Well, it could be better then. And of course, at the end, you present your project, right, and you get a feedback as well. So it's you know how to improve for the future and what to do better.
Exactly. So this is the preparation for the coursework, and once you're back in London, you have to do the written assignment.
Right.
So this is the preparation for everything that you have to do.
Right. So on the MA management, they have a residential weekend in the Latimer place.
Basically, the residential weekend is set around one of the modules you'll be taking, managers and organisations. And the idea of the residential is to actually practice the theory that you would have picked up in the first 4 weeks. A lot of it is based around communication, and it's actually about understanding how we communicate, but also the nature of some of the activities mean there are certain things you can't do. You can't write, you can't talk. And we realise, basically, that's when you start realising how we do really communicate, because not all of us write things down, and some of us just love talking, but it doesn't always work in some tasks. It's all group-based activities, but the key thing is that every group you're in is a different group from the previous group for the activity. But the real plus is we have January and September intakes, so they're both there mixing together, and it also means that it involves our part-time students, which adds a further dimension to the dynamic. Again, the MA management is still slightly different. Whilst we do have a number of students that are coming straight off their first degrees, we do also have a portion of students that are coming with anywhere between 5 and 10 years work experience, and they're looking to take the step up. So again, this allows some of that different experience to come out. It's not an international trip simply because the course has different origins, but it's worth saying, just because it doesn't have international in the titles doesn't mean we're not teaching international, because simply Westminster Business School is a global business school, and what we teach is just the emphasis is different, because we have just as much a mix of overseas students as home students. And certainly they're coming, one of the issues we often have is students are far better at understanding the differences between these two courses, so in the way that how we would explain them, which is one of the things that's always, I suppose, entertained us in what are they seeing that is different. But clearly students can see the difference, but it doesn't, the MA is just as international, but the emphasis is slightly different. It's much more explicit in the way that the IBM course is driven. And it also represents the different origins and intentions of these courses when they were originally developed.
As you have already noticed, we're very serious about preparing you for a professional life and making sure that you're employable and that you have everything that you need to continue your development throughout the rest of your professional life. So this is really just to reiterate again that we have all of this career planning and the professional development support, and we have work placements and internships. Also, an interesting thing which not many schools have, we have a school advisory board, which is which consists of people who are both some of them are international deans of international other business schools. Some of them are industry big hitters, like we had Margaret Mumford, for example, as a part of our advisory board. And the advisory board, I suppose, role is to advise the business school on the direction that it should take, but also enable us to have even better contacts and links with the industry, with businesses, as well as to guide us on development of new courses, on changing of our courses to make sure that they are up to date and that they are in the best way preparing you for your future. We have mentoring, we have competitions, we run plenty of different competitions, we support students to participate in competitions. So, for example, this year one of our students just won a internship with Mayor of London. There are other competitions that our students participate as well, and we always give them support. Both the academics give their time, the marketing helps them prepare, could be presentations or some other things. So we make sure that we give you the best resources really to make sure that you succeed. Because at the end of the day, we're only as good as you are. Again, we have industry speakers, student-run societies, and the Westminster Business Consultants, which we've mentioned before. And we also have over 25,000 business alumni around the world. I would dare to say any place you think of, there is one who graduated from University of Westminster or Westminster Business School. I mean, 25,000, those are just business alumni. When it comes to the Westminster University, it's huge. It's in hundreds of thousands. So it's a global network, and you'll become a part of it for life. And it's not, we encourage you to use it. It's not only that we organize plenty of events and networking for you to meet those people and to get contacts, but also you on your own could be researching, for example, to move to a specific country or maybe enter specific markets, industry. And we could potentially put you in touch with people who are already there or who've done something similar, so you can learn from them as well. So this is not just a part of some, I don't know, secret network you're part of, but this is your business tool that you can use as well in your future, and many did very successfully. So just remember that once you're part of Westminster, you're part of the Westminster family forever. And now to Raquel to tell us more about her experience that she hasn't told us yet.
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm a graduate from the International Business and Management course. I have started September last year and I finished September this year. My graduation is coming up. I am actually Brazilian. I came to London for studying. I arrived a few days before the course. And I also applied only a few weeks before the course started. What caught my eyes on Westminster was all the elements that we already talked about. Mm-hmm. It was the fact, for example, that it is a very professional focus instead of an academic focus. Different than other courses and other universities that I checked before, Westminster had a plan of how to help students get the career that they want. And I think this was for me the most important thing, as I was coming already with some background, some experience around 5 years. So for me, it was interesting to have a university that supported me on that. I think the fact that it is a very international environment was also one of the things that I was very interested in. And of course, all of these extras that come with the course, like the trip to Brussels. We also had a national trip, which was to the BMW Mini production assembly in Oxford. And I think this all adds a lot of value to what you get for your degree, right? This all attracted me. I think actually as an international student, the most difficult part is trying to find a balance between the exciting life in London, getting to know the city, and maybe it's the first time that you're living in Europe, so you also want to travel to the continent, and doing the work for university, right? I think this was the most difficult part. But as it turns out, the terms, they have a specific time, and my tip would be to really concentrate on studying during those times and maybe travel around during the vacation in between. So I, for example, used 1 week in Easter to travel to Scotland, which was amazing. And during the term, I was really at the library basically the whole time.
Fair enough.
Now, actually, as a graduate, it was actually worth the investment because, as it turns out, I have graduated with a distinction.
Well done.
And now I actually started working. I work for a market research company. It was a recommendation from one of my professors. So it also helps to be in touch with your professors, talk to them. They know a lot of people in the industries. They have a lot of contacts. They could support you in getting the type of career path that you're interested in. So I'm a research analyst and I'm really enjoying it.
Fantastic. Thank you. And are many of your friends still around? Or
no, actually everybody left.
Everybody left.
No, quite some of them stayed until the dissertation deadline, which was end of August. They traveled around a bit, and I think by now everybody is employed from what I have seen on LinkedIn and on our conversations.
Fantastic.
Everybody's employed, but everybody's back in their home country.
Some choose to stay, some choose to go.
Yeah, true.
It's very nice.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, if you are interested in applying to any of those courses, you can always you can apply online through the UK Pass system. It's on our pages. There's a link. Of course, if you have any more questions, we will go into questions in a second to respond to those that you've sent through. But if you have any questions afterwards around anything, really, you have a number of contacts here, and you're very welcome to just drop us an email. I mean, Kasia and Joe are our postgraduate applicant officers. They're amazing. They know pretty much everything there is to know about the process and about the courses. So any questions, just really drop them an email. Okay, so let's see. We've had some questions submitted in advance. So one of the questions was, how many intakes do you have for business and management course in a year? We have 2 intakes, one in September and one will be now in January. Do you offer MSc Human Resource Management? We offer a Human Resource Management Masters, which is Master of Arts, so it's MA, not an MSc. Usually the Human Resource Management Masters are MAs because they're more about soft skills than about numbers. Let's put it that way. Another question we had, I want to inquire about available scholarships and support to fund my education. Yes, we have a number of scholarships. You need to first apply onto the course, get an offer on the course, and then you can apply for a scholarship. We have probably one of the largest pools of scholarships available as a university. Saying that, we also have a large number of applicants applying for them. So only about 5% of those who apply will be granted a scholarship. But there are different levels of scholarships and kind of grants and supports that you could apply for. So I'd strongly recommend to check our website. If you go onto the course page that you're interested in, you will find there will be links to the funding and scholarships. And as you click through to those pages, there's all sorts of different opportunities available to you, and they change on a regular basis. So I would really suggest to have a look and see what is the best for you there. But there are options. Just make sure to give yourself enough time, because as I said, you have to have a place on the course first. What are the fees for the courses? Well, I think we've answered it in the presentation. So it was 9,000 for home EU, for management MA, and 12,000 for international students or for overseas students. For the international business and management MA and MSc, it was 14,500 for EU home students and 15,500 for our overseas students. Right, so is there a chance to join if I don't meet the minimum requirements from the score achieved in the previous education? I've got a bachelor degree, but with low mark grade.
Well, basically on that one, we'd look at what your work experience is and what you've done since you finished your degree, and also we'd take into account your personal statement. So it's a question of the more information you put onto an application form, it's likely to be passed on to the course leader for a decision on this kind of thing, but it's what have you done since you finished the degree that makes the difference. And again, it's that work environment. Certainly on the MA management, I can't imagine that'll be different on the IBM.
No. So will I be getting some work experience during the course? Well, yes. If you want to, you will. If you want to, you can take an internship on, and of course there's all those projects, and there's Westminster Business Consultants, and there's competitions that you can participate in. So yes, there are actually a number of options you could avail of. Are there any co-curricular activities? I have to say I'm not sure what co-curricular activities, what do you mean by those? I'm going to go with that you meant extracurricular activities, which there are plenty of, organized by societies, by just your friends, and of course, do not forget you're in central London, and there's literally no other place that can contend with that. There's so much happening, so even if in the university itself, the thing that you want is not happening, I'm sure it's happening somewhere in London. True. What does the typical week look like? Would you be able to say?
A week. So basically you don't have classes every single day, at least I didn't. It was 3 times a week that I would come to university. Normally the classes have a core class, which is 1 hour teaching time, and 2-hour seminar, which is group work, discussion, and you do some you basically work on what you have learned, on the theory that you have learned, applying it to like case studies and things like that. So basically, every time that you have a class, it would take around 3 hours. When you are not in class, I would suggest to go to the library and read all the documents, all the texts, extra texts that are recommended, because they give you basically the knowledge for, especially the seminar, for doing better at these case studies and so on. So you would have classes maybe some, 10 hours a week, and the rest maybe up to 20 something hours you would be studying by yourself, but really furthering your knowledge on the field.
Okay. So that's pretty much the same way.
Yeah, it's the same. Some modules will be taught in 3-hour blocks, but they're the same. They're a combination of lecture and tutorial. Some of my colleagues call them lectorials. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a mix to break it up, but the same concepts.
Keith, I was wondering if you could answer perhaps this one. Will this course be mostly research or theory based? And how? Well, we've talked about days per week. It's usually 3. Now, depending on your, I suppose, extra modules, depending on how they're scheduled, you might have to come in a 4th day. Mm-hmm. But normally it's 3. But yeah, will this course be mostly research or theory based?
Well, It's an academic qualification at the end of the day, so it has a concept and theory underpinning it. However, you're in the business school and it's a management course, so it's actually about applying the theory and concepts. Because the other thing is that theories are well and good, but organisations don't necessarily fit theory. So you actually have to understand the theory to understand how to apply it or why not to apply it. So it's very much, yes, it's theory based, but we use a lot of examples of case studies. And that's where the speakers come in to make it live, to make it real, because it helps understanding. And the other thing is that's what you're coming here for, is to go out to work and to make a better impact. And therefore, that's part of how we help you to do it. I mean, from a research point of view, some of it will be your own personal research. It would maybe about particular subjects you're doing. It's the pre-reading that Cal mentioned, but also it's about preparing yourself for your exams. And obviously, the main research piece you do will be the project itself.
So we have a couple more questions asked by you. I'm really sorry, Joe, but could you read them for me? Because I actually can't. It's too far.
Yeah, we have one, two people asking the same question, and I think it's already been covered, from Marcela Santos and from Laura Jordanova, asking what's the difference between the MA and the MSc pathways.
So the MSc, again, is a little bit more quantitative, so there will be subjects that are more analytical, it's more about numbers, it's more about reporting, whereas the MA will have less of that. And as you've seen when we've compared the modules, by the core modules, there's literally a difference of one module between the two. And there's a little bit different options as well for MA and the MSc. So that's the main thing, really.
And, well, we covered assessment too, but a question from Laura again, Laura Jordanova, is regarding the coursework for IBM, are we going to have 5 courseworks to write in total? And about examinations, are we going to have 2 exams or only 1? I think you might mean exam periods.
Well, usually per module you have 1 coursework, main coursework, and 1 exam.
Yeah, and we run currently exams twice a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of each term, right?
Yeah. At the end of each term, to make sure that you're not overwhelmed at the end of the year with many exams.
In the MA management, we have all but the project and business research methods have 2 assessments. 3 modules have an exam. The rest will have some kind of individual or group work and presentation, and then typically some kind of report. Or it could, in the case of 2 of the modules that are the more numeric modules, it's demonstrating that you can read financial sheets or can do an economic evaluation from a small amount of data. And also a number of these modules will have what we call formative assessment, which is where you submit a piece of work, not for a mark, but to get feedback on how to do the piece of work when you do the main piece. Because 1 or 2 of the pieces are things like reflective commentaries which aren't common prior to coming to university. So it's a way of helping you practice and to give you advice before you actually have to submit for marks.
Okay, and a further question is, who organises the trip to Brussels, and is it taken to Brussels every year?
Not every year. I know that between this year they have been to Brussels. I have been to Brussels in October last year, but in between they went to Berlin. And I think it changes. It is organized by the lecturer from the module from marketing. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's basically it's organized by the school, so you don't have to worry about all of the logistics yourself. And yes, as Raquel said, it could be a different place. It is usually within Europe. However, yeah, it depends on the objective of the particular trip. So it's not about sightseeing tropical locations or exotic locations, but it is very much to make sure that it meets the objective of the course at the very time.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Mr. Sani from CARE Global Consulting in Nigeria. How many intakes per year does this course have? And what is the deadline to apply for January intakes, considering all the processes for visa application? Yeah, that's an important thing to take account. And to respond to another question you have, Mr. Sani, it's Raquel is now a recent graduate in the MA in International Business Management. And I know you have some other questions, but we'll deal with those ones first.
So when it comes to the application process and deadlines, you can apply for a course online. So in this respect, it's pretty straightforward, and you can submit all of your documents as well online. The deadline for international students that for January, we recommend you apply by the end of November. Because then you still need to consider there's Christmas, usually the period between Christmas and New Year's, the British Embassy or the High Commission might be closed for you, and they won't be processing anything. So we definitely would want you to apply by the 1st of December. At this stage, the scholarship deadline has passed. It was the beginning of November. But yeah, if you were thinking of September, then for September, usually we advise students to apply, international students to apply by the 1st of August, the latest. Saying that, Raquel has applied later than that, she's fine, but really, just not to cut it too short, we would advise you to do it sooner than later. Also, if you are considering to apply for the scholarship deadline for September is usually around the 1st of May, so you need to take it under consideration as well.
And several more questions. He's curious to know more about Westminster in general too. Does Westminster offer human resource management, an MBA, which we do?
Yes, we do.
Bioinformatics, stroke health pathway. He'd like to know where the business school campus is located and whether we organise regular gatherings around the world for our some 25,000 alumni.
Starting with, I'll start maybe with campuses. So we have 4 campuses. 3 of them are located in central London. One is at Marylebone Road, which is the one we're currently at and where the business school is located. We have one campus on Regent Street. We have one campus on New Cavendish Street. Those are all 3 central London ones. And we also have quite a large campus for our media, arts and design courses in Harrow, which is slightly out of the center of central London, saying that it's about 15 minutes on the tube from central London. And it's West London, in fact, the Harrow campus. We do have the HRM course and we do have the MBA course as well. They do not have a particular specialization in healthcare. Saying that, that's the beauty of MBA is that you will be, in fact, interacting with people from all sorts of different industries and sectors, because every one of them has different point of view, and a big part of MBA would be that you learn from your peers, and you will widen your horizons and the way you look at things, because we find often that if you're too long or if you're just simply long in one particular industry, you get a bit locked into a certain way of thinking. Therefore, we wouldn't want you to do the same throughout your course. We would want you actually to break those walls and see things from perspectives of other people. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
The other part of the question was alumni networking.
Right. Yes, we do organize regular alumni network events. So we have an alumni office that does nothing else really but to nurture and keep the relationship with our alumni. We do go and recruit students all around the world, and at those times we also contact our alumni to both help us to talk to prospective students, to tell their stories, but also just to meet and catch up, because many of them we know personally, and it's just lovely to see your friends around the world.
Yeah, and there was a final question from Sunny. I think that this will be the last one we can take from our audience about, does Westminster Business School form partnerships and collaborations with institutions around the world? We do. We have extensive partnership arrangements around the world. Write to us and we'll pass on to someone who will be able to give you more information and our policies surrounding that. Okay, so if we can end with some concluding remarks.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Raquel, especially because I know you're busy with your own job and coming here in the middle of the day. But thank you so much. This just shows how loyal and lovely our alumni are, and this is the network that you'll be joining.
True.
Thank you, Kip, so much for today as well. And well, we hope that you got the information that you needed. If not, please check out our website and do send us an email. And another way, which I appreciate, especially for international students, it might be a bit difficult to imagine how it would be to be part of the business school, be part of Westminster and being in London. Do check our social media, because we aim with those to give you a bit of a feel of how it might be to be part of Westminster. So please do so. And again, any question, we're here and we're more than happy to answer. So thank you again very much, and have a lovely rest of the day or evening, whatever the time is where you are. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.